Hello, our learning goal today is I can solve one-step equations using inverse operations. What are one-step equations? One-step equations requires one operation to isolate the variable. When we isolate the variable, we get the variable by itself. So the goal again is to get the variable by itself. Okay, we're going to look at the main operations that have inverses. The first one I notice is a plus sign. The opposite of adding, of course, is to subtract. And the opposite of subtracting, of course, is to add. We'll go over here next. Let's look at the next one. The opposite of multiplying is to divide. The opposite of dividing would be to multiply. They're inverses of each other. Lastly, I'm going to look at fractions. To undo the fraction a over b, we multiply it by its reciprocal, which is b over a. So again, to undo multiplying by a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. Let's look at a few examples. The first problem says x plus 21 is equal to negative 8. Okay, we want to get the x by itself. So I'm going to undo the plus 21 by subtracting 21 from the left side of the equal sign and then subtracting 21 from the right side of the equal sign. When you do that on the left, 21 minus 21 becomes 0, so we cancel it out. And x equals negative 8 minus 21. Well, they're both negative numbers, so we know the answer will be negative. We add them together and we get negative 29. Next, we're going to look at the one across from it. We have a subtraction problem, x minus 3. Well, the opposite of subtracting 3 would be to add 3. Therefore, I'm going to add 3 to the right side of the equal sign. Negative 3 and positive 3 become 0, so I can cross them out. X is now by itself equals 12 plus 3 is 15. And yes, some people will say, I can do that in my head. I don't have to write all this work down. I want you to write the work down like this. We're going to have many, many more difficult equations than this, and you need to have a way to solve them. So it's very important that you learn this now. Looking at our third example, it says 4 times x equals negative 4. This is a multiplication equation. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. Dividing by 4. Divide by 4. Again, the division sign is just a line. It's the fraction line. If you look at the left, 4 divided by 4 is 1. We can cancel these out because they equal 1. And 1 times x is just x. Equals. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Again, you may say, I can do that in my head. I know that, but we're going to write out the steps. Lastly, we have x divided by 7. To get the x by itself, we're going to multiply by 7. Again, I like to use parentheses for multiplying. I just think it looks neater. You can use a dot if you want, but because we usually use x as our variables, as one of our variables, I don't like to use the x. And I personally just like parentheses. It looks nicer. Now, if we look at the left side, when we multiply a number by 7 and then divide it by 7, it becomes the same number. So x is here now by itself. Negative times a positive is a negative. 5 times 7 is 35. You'll notice the important note. Do not forget to balance the equation. Whatever you do to the left side, you must do it to the right side. Whatever you do to the right side, you must do to the left side. You must do the same operation on both sides of the equation. and I want to see the work. You're now going to try the Your Turn problems on the next page. There are 3 of them. Good luck, and we will check these in class tomorrow.